Today is brought to you by Silvercrest Opportunity Fund. Invest accredited for a 10% net return in terms as low as 1 year. Investing like Warren Buffett. Boom, we're back today on another episode of the Mobile Mailbox Money Podcast. Had our mastermind earlier today. Got a special guest in attendance here, frequent, avid Arizona real estate investor member of the association, creative finance specialist, fix and flip investor, and real estate agent here in the local market of Arizona, Rick De Luca. Rick, if you could just maybe introduce yourself for the viewers that don't know you.
Yeah, so I'm Rick De Luca. I'm an Arizona native. I've been here my whole life, and I love real estate in Arizona. So my background is I got started after college. I have a business degree in marketing and advertising, and then I got into appraisals after that. And from there, we started getting into the investor side before flipping was a thing.
Love it.
And what we do, just started doing that, teaching others. So now, not only, like you said, I have a real estate company through FSR Realty, De Luca Real Estate Group, and also have a company called AZREIA Strategies, where we help teach people and real estate agents do what we do.
Love it. Pretty strong background to facilitate, appraisals, getting a good concrete understanding of what pricing is and how that's, taking place for a good exit, and all the above. People do business with the individuals they know, like, and trust. And seeing you out at AZREIA and all of the marketing you're doing online through REI strategies, I love everything about it, having a seat of the day. Rick, for REI strategies, what's kind of going on lately? What are you guys delving into? What are you seeing in the market?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do in there is we kind of fill a gap where we don't really sell videos or just watch this stuff. We're really more hands-on with people. So, maybe they're wanting to learn about something, or maybe they're already into it a little bit, but then they have questions. That's where we come in and help people. So what are we doing right now? We're focusing on affordable housing with this kind of market. Like we talked about at AZREIA last week, market's kind of flat, and it's always tough in a flat market. When it's up, down, it helps. But in a flat market, you got to get creative. Well, what's the biggest demand is affordable housing, right?
Absolutely.
So we're working on developing some land on there.
Love it.
We're focusing in other areas outside of Phoenix too for investment side, in Yuma and Prescott area right now. So there's some opportunities, as well as we work with a great builder who's been around for decades in Arizona, and building multifamily, and we're actually turning a lot of those into pad splits and co-living places.
Yeah, it's important to be nimble, at the end of the day, because conventional is really not penciling out right now.
Yeah, it's tough to just buy a rental, not put much down, or do that BRRRR method where you buy and rehab and rent and refinance. The numbers, like you said, just aren't penciling out all the time.
For the person venturing into the alternative investment, facilitating affordable housing, going with a pad split model, what would you have to say about that journey? It's tough to branch off into an alternative because there's not all that many, say, gurus or whatever it may be to facilitate comfortability and moving forward with stuff like that. How's that ride been? Maybe some small challenges you faced, what's going on with that?
Yeah, so I tell everybody, look, real estate investing is investing. So anytime you have that word investing, there's always risk.
Absolutely.
So what we try to do is take as much risk out as possible, which means just making good decisions, educating ourselves, and taking that learning curve out is what we do for other people. But as we kind of go through, you got to be diversified, because wholesaling can be great and then it just shuts off. Flipping can be great, and then it just doesn't work out. And we've seen people who are like, hey, I just flipped, and then literally they lost pretty much everything on a bad flip, or they're just out of business, or or they got in there and the next one, they just doesn't work out. So you got to be diversified, long-term, short-term rentals, mid-term rentals. You got to be creative right now in this market.
Again, there's risk in investment at the end of the day, and knowing how to check off due diligence check boxes in order to mitigate that risk up front is of utmost importance. And getting that from like REI strategies or even Arizona Real Estate Investors Association, you got to tap people on the shoulder, ultimately to get that comfortability and due diligence risk mitigation baked into upfront in order to operate successfully. I think there's a lot of people that are scared on the sidelines right now, a lot of uncertainty. The investors that you're talking to, are you kind of seeing the same thing? What is some stuff they're bringing up?
Yeah, everybody has a reason. It's just excuses. Because for everybody who says that, there's somebody else who's making money right now in this market. So really, it's just saying, hey, I'm a little scared and I'm not comfortable. Well, that's why you tap into a good resource like we have, and you partner up with somebody. So the word is collaboration. We're always adding to our team. We're looking to partner up with people because when you do that, you can scale, you can get more deals done. You can actually, you feel more comfortable because you get more eyes on it because you're like, oh, is this a good deal or not? So that's what everybody, we're telling everybody, let's work together because there's deals to be had. People are making money right now. And this is actually a buyer's market. When have we had a buyer's market in the Phoenix metro area?
It's been, I don't know, when was the last time?
It's
been a long time.
Yeah, basically the big crash with the, the recession we all had in 2008, 2009. And that was an opportunity. So everybody sees that and they're looking for it to happen again. But something like that may never happen in our lifetime ever again.
Right.
So, I talk to people I'm waiting for it to crash. I'm waiting for it to do this. Well, we've had kind of a not so great market the last few years. Did it crash? No. Did interest rates go up to 8%? Yes.
Right.
And now we're all the way down to about 6.5% now. And it is still a buyer's market, but we don't know how much longer that's going to last. So let's take advantage of it instead of being scared and, let's educate, prepare ourselves, because whenever you have these kind of things where it's not a great market, it's usually a good time to buy, right? What does Warren Buffett say? He says, be scared when everybody's greedy and be greedy when everybody's scared. So right now, a lot of people are scared.
Out of hardship comes opportunity.
Yeah.
In other words,
Yeah, because you can actually help people. They get into problems, hardships, investors. We solve problems. We're actually helping people with their problems, not taking advantage of them.
That's of utmost importance to have a morality, about investing. We are all here to make money at the end of the day, but to be able to help people, as a dual caveat, really tough to come by. What else do you have to offer out in the market? How's your any recent struggles that you're dealing with, and maybe how you overcame that? Or, maybe a permitting issue or development's tough in Arizona.
Yeah.
How has that been approaching, even in manufactured housing? People, the legislature doesn't like mobile homes and manufactured housing. How has that been in that development process?
Yeah, it's always a struggle with anything. A lot of people go, oh, I'm going to do this, and the zoning says this, and I can put 20 units on. But when you go actually to the city and start going, they're like, you can put 12. So you can't run your numbers off of 20, because if you can only do 12, you probably pay too much for the land.
Right.
So you got, there's always these struggles. So you got to kind of price that in from the very beginning and find out as much as you can. But yeah, for instance, just doing some of the ones down, we're in Pinal County with those manufactured homes, and they had one inspector and he just left. So now it's before it was he was actually really good. He'd get on it. But now you got to wait, and it's a third party, and it's a different person each time, and they all have their own opinions.
Right.
So it's that, just like the multifamily project my client's working on right now in downtown Phoenix, should have probably been final approval last January. Here we are closing in on September, and we probably will have it right around September 1st, that final, just because of a final little thing they wanted to have a permit done in order to complete it, even though the property's actually been completed this whole time.
The permitting nightmares I've been hearing ever since COVID. Were you developing at all before COVID?
A little bit with just some of the, maybe a property needed to be updated because of that addition or something like that. And we started seeing it then. And, the
Tough.
permitting problem is unfortunately there's not always consistency.
Right.
Because you go in, I see you, and you tell me to do this, and they come in the next time and I see me, and I say, why'd you do this? Well, because Alden said, well, no, I want you to do it like that. So just that inconsistency is a little bit of an issue, as well as you have that at the planning, and then you have it with the inspectors, because, I always tell everybody, try to have the same inspector come back, because if you have a different inspector,
Right.
they're going to find other things that the other inspector probably didn't want it done.
Yeah. I heard that permits have tripled since COVID in price.
Yeah, we're seeing some of that.
Crazy.
And even so, the some of the city, like the impact fees when you're building, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those have been a little wonky in some of the places, because we pay an impact fee, and for instance, like for them to attach the water to the property. Well, then they're like, we don't have the capacity because we're building too big. So then we have to pay the impact fee and then pay somebody to actually come connect the water. So it's like we get double charged.
Yeah, they're double, triple dipping, looking for additional revenue for the city at any given time.
The city, everybody's trying to make money, right? And so you're getting it from all ends right now.
It's all fun and games from the investor standpoint, trying to enter into these different strategies. Oh, I want to do pad split. Oh, I want to do development, or I have this property I want to develop, but if you're not seasoned professional, even seasoned professionals get caught off guard, here and there.
That's the nature of the game.
It pays to be connected, it pays to, go through these steps and processes at the end of the day, so if you're failing to take an education, or, uncertain about, tapping someone on the shoulder, all of that's of utmost importance, and it'll probably save you time and effort at the end of the day.
And also, don't get into the education loop and just get analysis paralysis. Like, some people I see, they're out there, they're doing like a flip class, and then they're purchasing a buy and hold program and a BRRRR program and a, land development program. It's like, pick something and do it, because for every program, there is somebody who is making it work and making money in it today.
Absolutely.
But you got to get on it and get knowledgeable and just take action.
I think as an investor, it's important to be diversified, but also figure out how to make money in up and down markets, how to be insulated. I call it bulletproof. From market swings. And that's not always a 2x equity multiple. That's a high risk strategy, in other words.
Right.
But for the investor that may be liquid, like $1 million or whatever, and they're all got money in a money market account, low yield savings account, and are scared on the sideline, hedging in affordable housing's great, offering affordable rentals are great. What would you have to say about that specifically, when they go and evaluate at like an alternative investment fund, conference, or even attend AZREIA, where would you kind of point them ultimately to lay their hat, possibly? Because you're losing money with your money in an account like that, and to be analysis paralysis, to just be on the sidelines, that does nobody good.
Right. You got to have your money working for you, because inflation just keeps going up. So just putting your money in a property or an account that's just sitting there, sometimes you're like literally losing money because your money is getting devalued. So in order to outpace it, you do need to take a little bit more risk, but that's when it's important to make sure you collaborate with the right people, because the more knowledge and experience people have, the less risk it can be, right? Everybody always asks, how many flips have you done? How many rentals do you have? How many times have you done this? So if you understand it and love, like I love the analytical people, but I find it's hard for them to take action. You know, like your accountants, your engineers, things like that. Computer developer people, they're very analytical. They do the math. They're like, yeah, it totally makes sense, but they just don't always have it in them to pull the trigger. So that's when you go to someone, put your money with them, and let them do the work and take their piece, and then you take the rest, because that seems to be better than like trying to go in and do everything yourself. Because you try to educate yourself on every little thing, you can't do it. That's why we all work together.
So you're talking about passive lending, becoming a private money lender, or being the bank.
Yeah, or giving it the money to someone who can do the thing to make the money outpace inflation.
Absolutely. Where do you find people like that?
I don't
Rick?
know where. Yeah, exactly. That's like, if you are, you know, we're very hands-on, and you are hands-on, but then we both have opportunities, you more so, of people to come in and let this guy do some work and just bring your money back a little bit more, right? That's the whole thing. It is investing, there's risk, but you have a good record of that, you know, obviously. So
goes both ways.
Yeah, just if you're looking for something, it basically, the whole deal is take action. Like our logo is definitely like arrows pointing forward, because we want people to take action in some way. So there's all kinds of things you offer, I offer, that for people, or if they're looking for something else, we know people that they can have other options to offer, you know. But trying for the you know, the TikTok and Instagram clickbait about getting rich quick, solving all your problems in life with real estate, you have to have work. You know, have to do the work. You have to take the time, money, experience, or collaborate with people. You're not going to make 100%. Well, it is 100% of zero is what you're going to get. Or you know, you just gotta take action, but you can't fall for all these little hype up things that you see online, because it's just not true.
The shiny object syndrome,
yeah,
as they say.
Buy this program, you know, and you'll be rich, or do this. It just doesn't work that way.
All you need to do is own 100 million in real estate.
Yeah, that's
like, okay,
that's easy. And guess what? And you just tell people to give you the money, 100 million, and then you own it, and you'll have any money, and you're rich. Like, no, you don't own anything.
What events are you attending lately? You know, any conferences worthy of conversation? We touched on AZREIA. Their Phoenix meeting's great.
Yeah, AZREIA has a lot of events. I host 3 of them, 3 events every month, and in conjunction, AZREIA promotes all those 3 for us. We do. They're more networking. They're not as like sit down and we're gonna just talk at you.
Less education, more relationships.
Yeah, it's kind of like the beginning to launch you to where you need to go. So we do have the Experienced Real Estate Investor Group, which is a place for people to come, and it's not like a mastermind, but it's more like talk about what we're doing. It's people who are actually doing things versus like, I'm looking to get into this or that. And then that's a nightly one. And then we have 2 coffee and real estate mixers. And that is kind of like, you know, a few people just getting around talking about real estate. It's kind of like a daytime experienced investor. So last month we just had earlier this month, we had a guy who showed up, and he's from Wisconsin, and he lives here part-time. And he's like, oh, this is what I want to do. I just want to talk real estate. And he was so cool because he started his own hotel franchise.
Oh, wow.
And he was telling us all about it. And we're going to meet up with him in a couple of weeks. But it was just like this guy wandered in, and he's just such a wealth of knowledge. And you never know who you're going to find. But I'll also want to say next week is actually the Tom Ferry Summit, which he's the #1 real estate coach in the world. And we're looking forward to that because he gets a lot of stuff about where's real estate going to go and the market in the next year, or if there's even changes coming down, like legal things. We saw like the whole NAR thing for realtors a year ago. And then we have the Alternative Asset Summit in October.
Yeah, shout out to Directed IRA.
Yeah, Nate and all the guys there. That is, we went last year, and man, that was one of the best conferences I've been to.
I forget where they're having it this year. It's in October.
Yeah, October, I think 16th,
18th?
17th.
Yeah, something like that.
But I can't remember where. It's going to be here in Phoenix, though. But it was surprising. Last year we went to it, and majority of the people were from other states.
Yeah,
That's how good it is that people actually fly and travel in for that.
that's a great point.
So, I mean, if you want to be around connected people who have something to offer and knowledge or possibly funding projects, that's the place to be.
Alternative investments is one of the biggest things even being Googled right now. With Trump actually just came out and passed the executive order that will allow 401ks, retirement plans, qualified programs to be able to invest to alternative investments. Now is a better time more than ever to explore these strategies because of the hardship out in the market, but also even your availability to do so just became that much more nimble. What have you seen about that? What's your opinion on that? What do you think's going to happen?
It's different than the norm. And anytime something different, there's people who jump on, early adopters, and there's other people who like sit and let me see what happens. But how I look at it is, look, before you had to have a bunch of money and like connections in the stock brokerage to get access to the good capital, good companies, VC people, Now with the way everything is kind of syndicated with crypto and other things, it kind of evens the playing field for all of us to have access to all the good investments is how I look at it.
It's putting the power back into the investors' playbook, no longer having to worry about BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street holding your retirement accounts.
And I mean, they get rich up or down, and most people's account just goes down in reality. It's like you have some good years and then it just rocks you, and then you're just trying to get back to even. It seems like, I used to be a financial advisor early in my career before real estate. And because I loved investing, I did really well investing. I was born in the 1900s, so I was early. I was buying stocks like during the dot-com area. So I did really well. And that's how I actually was able to buy my first house and other real estate because of that. And so I love the whole investing and whatnot. But then I see the path of that, which you can still do well. And I believe you should diversify to other assets. But real estate is one of the best ways to really just create wealth. And the tax benefits are so amazing as well.
Absolutely. I happened to be flying to Vegas for a conference, and the elderly gentleman behind me is like, man, I think it was COVID at the time. And, he was like distraught because the stock market dropped however many trillions of dollars. Like, man, I can't even afford to retire anymore. Yeah. My investments were in stable positions. It wasn't like he was taking an aggressive standpoint. If he would have had some portion of his portfolio outside the stock market or had option for 401k investment, that could have positioned him to withstand the storm at the end of the day. We're not always going to make money all the time at the end of the day.
Right.
But how do we not lose any money is the most important, especially for even high net worth
Rule
individuals.
Number one, don't lose money.
That's most important. Shiny object, 2x equity multiple, get rich quick. High yield stock investments.
Yeah.
Those are all potentially fluctuating assets.
Yeah. And you look at it as a total, like your portfolio. Like when you look at stocks, you're like, oh, Amazon's up, Apple's down. But you look at your portfolio on a whole, and then you maneuver it as you go. And you got to look at real estate the same way. Like some houses or properties are going to do well, some not so much. So you transition. And what's great about that is you got the 1031 exchange, which allows you to bounce in and out of assets and without having to pay taxes. So by doing that, it actually gives you a portfolio just like stocks, or other equities. So when you kind of look at it like that, it's like it just kind of enlightens you. And then you take that over to cryptocurrency or oil investing, mineral rights and all these things, you can really get yourself diversified. And so what I always say, it's time in the market and not timing. Because like that gentleman, obviously what most likely happened to him was he started late trying to catch up, took extra risk so he could retire, and he got caught at a bad time. And then there you go. It's life-changing. And you want it to be life-changing on a plus side, not on the downside for people.
Rick, if someone wanted to contact you for the various opportunities that you have, see the stuff you have online, how would they do that today?
Yeah, I'm on the internet. No, so you can find me online. Just Google me. But the best way is really like Instagram. REI.strategies is our tag there, and name tag. And then that way you can see what we're doing on the investment side. And then Rick De Luca Real Estate is my other Instagram that shows more traditional and the other things we're doing. And but reistrategies.com, check out the website. And we offer things from one-time consultation. I just had an individual reach out to me, just had a question on one thing. She's like, oh my gosh, so great, I could just pay you and get my answer to my question. We're there to help. We got a bunch of offerings. Check it out.
Boom. That's here at Mobile Mailbox Money Podcast, episode 31. Attend AZREIA, his meetups, and
Come meet us. Yeah.
Catch us at the meetings, the subgroups, the networking opportunities.
Yeah. Or contact us and we'll tell you where we're going to be, and join us and be around the people that you need to be.
Boom. Today's brought to you by Silvercrest Opportunity Fund. Invest today like Warren Buffett. Appreciate y'all viewing. Go back and view the podcast, the blogs, the masterminds, the walkthroughs, the AZREIA meetings, and all the above. Unfiltered value here at Mobile Mailbox Money.